everyone, welcome to Jackalopes Afire. I'm your host, Zilla. With me again this week is Chuck. Welcome back, Chuck.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, you know.
Yeah, I know. So wait, before we get too far into it, I do want to say publicly to our listeners, viewers, whatever, I'm sorry. At least part of the reason that we have not done one of these is on me, because I lost touch with people in my life, including my beloved sister, and she let me know that I was being a dumbass.
As I frequently do.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to my fans. I'm sorry to my sister.
We forgive you. And Buddy was a decent replacement for an episode.
No.
But couldn't quite fill the role.
No, he doesn't really. He doesn't give enough to the performance, I think.
He tried, but just not there yet.
Yeah.
So, we do have some stuff to talk about today.
Yes, we do. Lots has happened. It's been, 2 months since you and I did one of these together? And almost a month since you did yours?
Yes, which I'm going to try to... I'm going to try it, maybe not weekly, because I have to work the next 2 Saturdays. And I'm actually going to be taking a class in the fall that meets on Saturday. So try to get these out at least a couple times a month.
If we do these weekly, it's probably going to have to switch to a Sunday.
Right.
Yeah.
But we'll do what we can. Definitely going to try not to have a gap like that again anytime soon.
Right.
Yeah, I just started a new job at a new child care center. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you where, but...
in the Austin area.
Yes, in the Austin vicinity.
The greater metropolitan Austin area, or whatever the fuck they call it.
And as part of my new job, I have a couple of trainings to do. I had one yesterday and a couple more, and lots of fun.
Hey, at least you're getting paid for it.
Yes, I sure am. So that's definitely good.
What are your new trainings going to be? I know yesterday was CPR training.
Yes, which was boring because for me it was a renewal. I had to do it because my CPR had expired. Mm-hmm. So it was stuff I had already been through before. But it is very important, especially working with kids. I have actually had a kid choke on me one time, and it is good to have those skills.
Yes,
so I'm
absolutely.
Certainly not mocking the training's importance because it is very important information. But when you've been through it and you have to go through it every couple years, it gets a little boring.
Sure, understandable.
The next couple of trainings I have are what's called pre-service training. It's basically training you take when you're going into childcare, so I don't suspect to learn a lot, but it's 16 hours of information, so surely there will be something in there I don't know. And surprisingly, I've never taken this course before in the 2 years I've worked in licensed childcare.
I'm sorry, you're going to be spending the next 2 Saturdays 8 hours each day?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Sucks.
Yes, it is an 8 to 5 course.
Are they paying for lunch?
And the next month, I don't know. Yeah. And the next month, I am starting a class with my dad at ACC.
Oh, what are y'all doing?
So, guitar lessons.
Really?
Yes.
He finally gonna play that fucking guitar?
Yes, and I'm gonna play mine.
Right on.
So we're gonna start taking guitar lessons at I want to say it's 1 or 2 hours every Saturday. So.
Little father-daughter bonding. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Need to restring my guitar so I can play it left-handed, but it should be fun. So I'm gonna have kind of a full calendar coming up, but I'm still wanting to get the podcast in, so we'll see how that goes. Definitely don't want to go a month at a time without doing one of these.
Right.
Again.
Yeah.
Now.
Although, since a lot of our podcasts boil down to Didio bashing, a month at a time is not that big a deal because, all we're going to do is bitch about Didio.
I do have some shit to talk about Didio.
Naturally.
Of course. But we're going to get to that. I think that's actually going to be more towards my soapbox today. Because Didio's reaching new heights of douchebagginess every day.
Nice.
So we'll get to that. But first, the first thing I want to talk about is the big announcement. The new doctor.
Yes, there's a new doctor, Peter Capaldi.
Yes. Now, I am obviously reserving all-around judgment till I actually see him in the role, because you can't judge until you see. That said, just by looking at him, he looks the part of a doctor. I can see it.
Yes, very much so.
He has a
For the
resemblance
first
to
time in a
Tennant.
while. Yeah, I can see that. He reminds me. I guess his part of his resemblance to Tennant is going to be the suit, that blue suit that they're showing him in. It looks like David's suit, so that's helping to make him look more like Tennant.
Oh, I hadn't
But I'm
even seen
also
that. Just as soon as I saw him come out on BBC, I'm like, oh wow, he looks like Tennant.
yeah. I'm also expecting a more John Pertwee style doctor with this guy. He and I guess it's because he's an older doctor. I'm just expecting a more dashing and debonair doctor, as opposed to the clown that we see sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm glad it's an older doctor. After having that, it was time to go a little older again.
Yeah, but how's Clara going to respond to that? She is confirmed to be his companion for at least his first season.
Which I'm very psyched about, because Clara is easily my favorite companion since Rose.
She is a good companion. I will definitely admit to that.
I love her. So looking forward to seeing how they interact. Looking forward to see how Clara handles the first regeneration she sees. The interesting thing about this, as opposed to some of the companions, like Rose, for example, she knows the Doctor regenerates. She's seen his whole timeline. She has seen all the Doctors.
Yeah, it won't be as big of a shock for her, and I think that's going to be very interesting.
Right. Whereas Rose was like, what'd you do with the Doctor? A lot of companions have been like that when they see a regeneration.
Right.
So having her already know that what the regeneration process is going to be a different take on it from a companion standpoint. It should be interesting.
Absolutely. And I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, this will be the first companion to see him regenerate that actually knows what's going to happen.
It came close with Tennant had a almost regeneration.
That Rose and Sarah Jane.
Jack was there too.
Right.
But
see, Jack didn't see the first regeneration.
No, but he knew what was happening because he told everyone to stand back.
Right, he knew the concept, but he had never witnessed it. And with Clara being in the Doctor's mind, sort of, because she's been linked to the TARDIS very intricately, I think that she has actually seen it, so she knows exactly what it is going to be like.
I'm also interested to see if they're going to stick with, because they've had a regeneration style since it's come back in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before, every regeneration was a little different.
Yeah, each one was moderately different. I'm
curious if they're going to stick with it or kind of deviate.
Well, considering this is Moffat's first regeneration, but with Moffat being a true understudy, I suppose, to RTD, Russell T Davies, I think that they will probably keep the regeneration sequence alive the way it currently exists. I think that's going to be a continuity thing that they keep.
We'll see. It'll definitely be interesting. I'm looking forward to the 50th. Seeing how Matt finally meets his end to regenerate. Kind of bummed that it's happening because I just started to like Matt in the Clara episodes that we've seen so far.
See, and I think that's only because you never really liked Amy or Rory or River. You didn't like them at all, and that kind of sours you to Matt's run as well.
That's not true. I liked Amy at first. I haven't liked River from the get-go, but that's a whole other thing. I liked Amy at first.
So your problem with Amy was what, River or the inclusion of Rory?
I actually didn't have an issue with Rory. My biggest issue with Amy was she got old fast. Like, I got sick of her very quickly.
Fair enough.
Um,
Sorry,
she
I had a glare. I had to turn.
she is, if you consider River a companion, then she would be my least favorite companion. But of the regular companions that have traveled with him, I think Amy would probably be one of my least favorite.
I think you have to consider River as a companion. She's his wife.
That's a technicality. And she didn't travel with him everywhere.
She did a lot of traveling with him that we don't see. She did a lot of one-off trips with him.
Oh, well.
So she is a companion. She is considered a companion.
Okay, well, she's my least favorite by far then.
Yeah.
But, you know, Martha was also a pretty popular companion, and I didn't hate her, but certainly wasn't one of my favorites. I liked her role in Torchwood much better than I did on Doctor Who.
I like Martha as a character. I think that her role in Torchwood was nothing more than an extension of what she was doing on Doctor Who. So I liked them both.
I did like her ending, as it were, in David's last episode, where we see that she's married Mickey, of all people.
I thought that was cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah, the tin dog gets the girl. I like that.
Which is another companion I'd like to see back. I want to see K9 again.
You know, I thought I did too, but I'm glad. I'm hoping they don't. I honestly do. And the reason is K9 was such a. He was so intricately tied to Sarah Jane Smith for those episodes that with her gone and truly gone, unfortunately, with Liz Sladen passing, I think that it's a good idea to leave K9 out of it going forward, unless they find a way to bring Tila back and we see K9 Mark One, which is that. So there, you didn't see a lot of Tom Baker stuff. K9 was actually Leela. He was there during Leela's run.
Yeah, I saw that on the Doctor Revisited special.
Yeah, so when she left, she actually took Mark 1 with her. And then Mark 2 came along for the Romana stuff. And when Romana 2 left the TARDIS, she took K9 Mark 2 with her. So, and then he made K9 Mark 3 and sent him to Sarah Jane. We never actually saw K9 Mark III on Doctor Who. He was introduced with K9 and Company and as a gift to Sarah Jane, and then of course the Mark IV gets introduced in the series. So if we see a return of K9, I would like to see it with either Tila and Mark I or Romana and Mark II. I would love to see a Romana 3. I'd love to see an explanation of did she make it out of E-space and what has she been doing all this time? Did she make it to the Time War? And I think Romana would be one of the only Time Lords that they could easily explain surviving the Time War because and finally found a way out.
Right.
I think that would be the way to go with that. I would love to see Romana come back, even with a younger actress playing her. In fact, I was thinking about the other day, I think Emma Watson would actually play a good Romana 3. Emma Watson being Hermione Granger from the Harry Potter series. That's just me.
I have no comments since I know nothing about the character.
I understand. I get that.
I was also...
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was actually talking to a friend of mine yesterday. He's watching Doctor Who, but he's watching he hasn't gotten to the new stuff yet because he's watching the classic Who first and working his way to the new stuff.
Is he doing that on Netflix, or is he doing that with the actual set?
I honestly don't know. But I do know that he was asking me because obviously it was obvious I was a Doctor Who fan. And he asked me if I ever watched Classic Who. I'm like, I just can't do it. I've tried. It's just too cheesy for me.
You know, I don't think you've given it a fair enough chance. You haven't watched the good episodes, the ones that really solidified Doctor Who as an outstanding television series.
I have watched, I would say, maybe about 5 episodes of various Doctors.
Yeah, see, that's not enough. You're not watching the right ones.
I have to say, I do like Peter Davison. Is that his name? Yeah.
The 5th Doctor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do like him. He's got charisma that I like.
Yes, he was an excellent Doctor. Honestly, going back and watching all of them, I didn't see a lot of Patrick Troughton, unfortunately, but going back and seeing each of the Doctors in their environment at their time, I think they all brought something very, very special to the role. Peter was a fantastic Doctor. So was Colin Baker. Colin suffers from poor writing and poor wardrobe.
I would say because he was the least popular, generally speaking.
At the time, yes, but
unless you count the 8th.
Actually, Paul McGann has a huge following.
Really? Even though he only did the movie and then the audio stuff?
Yep, and that's exactly why, because he's the one. Paul McGann is the Doctor that kept it alive from the time he became the Doctor in '96 all the way until they regenerated him into Christopher Eccleston. He was the Doctor. He was the Doctor for all those audio books, not audio books, but audio dramas for 10 years. He was the only one doing it. And as it got more and more popular, they started bringing in people like Tom Baker and Colin Baker and even Peter Davison. All the surviving Doctors, with the exception, I think, of Christopher Eccleston, have done an audio drama now. At least one. Many of them have done multiples, but Paul McGann started it. So he's got a huge fan following, people wanting to see more, and would love to see some 8th Doctor stories kind of filmed and squeezed into, okay, here's what happened after '96, but before the Time War.
Yeah, see, I am sad there's not more 8th Doctor video.
Yeah, exactly. I am too. I would love to have them go to Paul and say, hey, we're going to do a spin-off of Doctor Who. You're going to play the Doctor, and we're going to do some 8th Doctor stories.
Even even something like that Green Lantern movie, First Flight, where it was a flashback thing of past Green Lantern adventures. Do a movie where it's a bunch of little shorts of 8th Doctor stuff. That would be cool. And
he's still thin enough and young enough that he can do it. Whereas people like Colin Baker, certainly Tom Baker, and even Peter Davison, who was younger than either of them, they've gotten too old and too out of shape to be doctory. Sylvester McCoy could probably still do it because while he's older, he doesn't look a whole lot different than he did 10 years ago or 15 years ago. So he could probably still do it. But the others have gotten really old.
And besides that, they all have their stories.
Right. They've got their time on film.
Right. And unfortunately, McGann didn't.
Yeah.
Except for the movie.
And with the exception of Colin, each of them had their bow-out stories. Their stories where, okay, we're done. Carry on. Whereas Colin, unfortunately, because of disputes at that time, he was fired. They fired him. And then they decided, okay, we want you to come back and do the regeneration into Sylvester. And he told them to go fuck themselves, and I don't blame him.
No.
Hey, wait a minute. You fired me. Now you want me to hand the reins over gracefully? Kiss my ass. So they did this ridiculous regeneration with a wig, and it was awful. Anyway.
They did what they could.
Yeah, they absolutely. They did exactly what they could.
With CGI, it would look much better.
Sure. Yeah, they'd have found a way to make it happen. But yeah, I mean, most of them have had their bow-out stories, so I think it's it would be okay for them not to do it. Whereas Paul, he only got that one shot, and I would love to see him do more.
Yeah.
He's probably one of my favorite actors in the role, and that's very strange considering he only did the one thing. I've listened to a couple of the audio dramas, and they're really very good. So.
Anyway, we'll see what the new Doctor can bring to it,
Yep.
and then very soon we'll see how John Hurt feels all of this.
Yeah, exactly. How does he fit in and things like that? Now, of course, some of our viewers and listeners already know. Please don't tell me.
And I'm pretty sure I actually know. I saw a spoiler and I believe it, but I know better.
Yeah, the nice thing about spoilers about Doctor Who is a lot of times they're wrong, because Moffat will intentionally leak false rumors.
Yeah.
So it's hard to take the spoilers seriously, and that's another reason that I do tend to avoid them, is simply because I get that Moffat lies to us. He's as bad as the Doctor. He lies.
Yeah. So. Now, the spoiler that I heard, I do believe, I won't say what it is. I hope that it's true, because I would very much like to see what I'm expecting to see.
When it gets around to that time, make sure you write it down. When it gets around to that time, we'll discuss and see how close you were.
Okay. But I am very much looking forward to the 50th, as I know a lot of our viewers and listeners are.
Absolutely. I was going to say, speaking of, just really fast, Harry Potter and Doctor Who. Speaking of, we've discussed before that some of the people that appeared in Doctor Who also appeared in Harry Potter. It's really not surprising.
You've discussed, since I've never seen Harry Potter.
Whatever. I keep trying to get you to watch it, and you don't want to watch it with me. And I don't know why, because they're great. They really are good films.
You don't know how many people are trying to get me to watch those damn movies. I may have to just watch one of them to shut everybody up.
Exactly. I really do think you would enjoy it if you just let yourself. And this isn't another one of those Twilight things. I really think you'd enjoy it.
It better not, because Twilight was painful.
Yes, the Twilight's painful. Although the movies got progressively better, Twilight is kind of hard to watch.
Yeah, I'm still kind of pissed at you for making me sit through the first one.
Hey, but at least you sat through it, and you can honestly say you don't like it. You can't be accused of making a judgment without giving it a fair shot.
No, and I can also honestly say Bella Swan is the worst female role model of all time.
Oh, I agree with that. She's not a good female role model. She never should have been considered a female role model, and I think Stephenie Meyer should feel ashamed of herself for having this character be considered a role model. Anyway, not the point. So the point is, I'm sitting there the other day, and I happened to realize that 7 actors that appeared in the Harry Potter films also appear in Doctor Who. 6 of them since the relaunch. One, I kind of cheat with one of them because he's not in a canon episode. Jim Broadbent played Professor Slughorn. He's the potions master that gets introduced in the 6th and 7th books. Jim Broadbent played one of the doctors in the Curse of the Fatal Death.
You cannot count Curse of the Fatal Death.
Aha, yes I can, and here's why. It was an officially licensed and sanctioned BBC parody of their product, and it was written by Stephen Moffat. I count it. But
okay, fine, I will give it to you.
Even if you ignore that, even if you say, no, okay, Curse of the Fatal Death doesn't count, 6 people have appeared in both Doctor Who and Harry Potter since Doctor Who came back. That's pretty cool. David Tennant, the guy John Cybus, the guy who invents the Cybermen. I can't think of the character's name, but the old guy from Christmas Carol, the one where he's taking the kid through his life. He visits every Christmas. Anyway, that's the second Professor Dumbledore. Warwick Davis, who was the Emperor in the Silver Nemesis. I see you not caring. Rory's dad is Mr. Weasley. And I'm missing one. It's not important. Anyway, The point is, there are 6 in the current series that have also appeared in Harry Potter, and I think that's very cool. Shut up.
That's the sound of crickets.
Yeah.
Can we move on?
Yes, fine.
I'm sorry, I don't care about Harry Potter.
If you watch the movies, you would.
Moving on.
I think we should do that. One of these days, one of these Saturdays, we need, obviously not the next 2, one of these days, we need to sit down and watch the first one.
Now, moving on, I actually, granted it was digital comics, but I actually bought 2 comics for the first time in months this week.
Really?
I did. And they were not DC, because DC sucks.
Well, obviously.
I gave my money to Marvel.
Oh, wow.
So, yes.
I was expecting like an independent or something, not Marvel.
No, Marvel.
What'd you get?
It is a prelude for Thor.
Oh, yeah.
The new Thor movie, the Dark World or whatever it's called. It actually, those 2 issues bridge 2 gaps. It bridges Thor to the Avengers, and then the Avengers to Thor 2. Remember all those questions I had after the Avengers about where's Jane, what happened to her, why didn't he call her while he was on Earth, etc., etc.?
And remember me telling you that they did that in movie? They handled that?
With that one line, then I wasn't satisfied with that?
It wasn't okay. It was one line, but it's because you miss part of the conversation. You hear the end of a conversation.
Right. This comic goes and covers all of those gaps.
I see. So this is an officially sanctioned movie tie-in type thing.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the artwork's done to look like the actors pretty closely. It's definitely connected to the movie canon-wise. I mean, obviously, if you don't go read it, you're not gonna. It's not like the movie's not gonna make sense. Right. But it definitely,
gives you a little more backstory.
Gives you exactly a fuller picture. Questions I had about the movie were answered. So I definitely recommend going and downloading that from. There's a Marvel app. That's actually where I downloaded it from. You can also get it from the Comixology app. So, a very good read. 2 issues, and they're not extended issues or anything, so it's pretty short. If you haven't seen Thor and the Avengers, these comics don't make sense, period.
So watch Thor, read the first comic. Watch Avengers, read the second comic. Go watch Thor 2.
Pretty much.
Fair enough.
Because if I hadn't seen the movies, there is definitely a couple of places in there that just doesn't make sense unless you've seen the movie. So they're tie-ins for sure. But definitely worth reading, worth the money. They're $2.99 each, so standard comic book prices. And they're digital, so that's a bonus. You don't have to actually go out to the store and find them. And
I love that I can buy books cheaper than I can buy comics these days.
Right? And then as an added bonus, it's Marvel and not DC, so you're not giving DC your hard-earned money.
That's right. Fuck Dan Didio.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, he's such a moron.
Well, this is fact, but are you referring to something specific?
Yeah, I'm talking about this shit with, what the hell his name is. The artist that was unceremoniously dumped for no fucking reason this week.
Right?
Yeah.
Have you noticed
that's been stuck in my brain?
Between firing and artists and writers walking off, DC is not gaining a good reputation, for work these days.
No, and I said this. I think I tweeted it. Honestly, being fired off that particular book was probably the best thing that happened to the guy, because it's bound to be a shitty book anyway. Anything
with the DC title or with the DC logo has been shit.
Right, and to take the Justice League and throw them into the year 3000 with some of the worst fucking costumes, and that's on him. He designed those costumes. It was terrible.
Well,
It's the first time.
they already have Justice League Beyond or whatever. Why do they need Justice League 3000?
Right. And the difference is that I believe that this is actually the Justice League. It's our Justice League thrown forward to the year 3000. Instead of just using the fucking Legion of Superheroes.
Which is basically the Justice League for the year 3000.
Exactly. They're in the 30th century. There's no other reason to go to the 30th century without the Legion of Superheroes, and they're not going to do it.
We're talking about a company that still has missing characters, has yet to cancel Batwing.
Oh my God, it's still going?
Yes!
One of the worst selling books in DC history, and it's still going.
Yes.
Wow.
Never mind the fact that there have been a slew of cancellations since New 52 started. Batwing is still going.
Ridiculous.
And
you know what it is? They're afraid to cancel the book because he's black.
They're
afraid of the media backlash. Exactly. They've stuck themselves. They tried to do something that was PC, which is stupid. Doing it just because he's black is dumb. Doing it because it was an intriguing storyline or whatever would have been okay. But they only did it because, hey, we need a black Batman. No, we don't.
No, and
we do need positive black role models. I agree with that. I'm not saying that at all. But I don't think we needed a black Batman, unless you're talking about years in the future, a successor to the mantle.
Something like Batman Beyond.
Right.
Obviously not that, because we've already established Terry in that role. But
yeah, but Terry easily could have been a black kid.
Yeah. Now, the thing that's still, and you're going to roll your eyes, I know you are, but the thing that still pisses me off about this whole Batwing thing is the same thing that's always pissed me off, is the fact that, as I predicted, the sales of Batwing suck.
Right.
We've established that. We also have established that when Stephanie Brown was Batgirl, her sales were pretty good. Put her in a spoiler book, and you have another Bat Family title that sells better than fucking Batwing.
Yep. But oh no, can't have Stephanie Brown.
Oh no.
Yeah, no. And I get where you're coming from with that. And notice I did not actually roll my eyes.
I noticed that. I was surprised.
I get that you're pissed about Stephanie Brown, and yeah, that gets a little old sometimes. But that being said, you're right. The fact remains that Stephanie was a much more popular character than Batwing has turned out to be. The book sales clearly show that, and the fan base clearly shows that. So Didio needs to get off of his ass. He needs to pull his head out of his ass, and he needs to bring Stephanie back. Give her a spoiler book. If you don't want to make her Robin, fine. But give her a fucking spoiler book. You don't want to make her Robin. You don't want to make her Batgirl. You don't want to acknowledge that she was ever those characters other than Spoiler. Fine. We get that. But fucking do it. Make her Spoiler and move forward. There's nothing wrong with doing that.
Well said. And while you're at it, I'd even be okay if it was a joint book between Spoiler and Black Bat. Bring Cass back too. Make those fans happy. I don't like Cass, but hey, if it's in a book with stuff, I'll tolerate it.
I would love to see, and I'm completely serious about this, I would love to see a series. I probably wouldn't buy it, but I know people that would. I would love to see a series with several female characters that have been killed off or never existed in this New 52, such as Stephanie, Cass, and Donna.
And Mia.
Yeah, there you go, and Mia. There's 4 right there. One more, and you've got a super team. 5 girls. And, I'm sure we can find another one that was a pretty decent character that stopped existing suddenly, or even bring in a 5th that is well established as a mentor, and let them run wild. Let them just tear up the night. I think it would be very cool, and a positive book for female fans.
Oh, but
But
no.
again,
Didio hates girls. Didio hates
yeah,
females. This is what
yeah.
I have decided.
He hates females in a powerful position. I suspect Dan Didio was an only child who had an overbearing mother.
I wouldn't be surprised, um, especially if you look at what he's had, or the direction that all. I realize they all have different writers, but
Hmm.
look at the direction of all the major female characters. Starfire, dumbed down and sexualized.
Yep, made into a porn.
Barbara, Barbara, majorly dumbed down.
Yep.
Um,
Took one of
Kara,
the brightest characters in history, one of the most PC characters in comic book history, and took away what made her special by taking away her wheelchair, and took away her intelligence and made her into an idiot that never could have become Oracle.
way to go with
Completely
the diversity.
fundamentally changed the character just so you could have a red-headed Batgirl again.
Uh-huh. What they've done to Kara, they took away all her humanity. Um,
Yeah, and let's face it, I agreed because of the timeline. I agreed with what they did with Kara originally. I didn't like the costume, but I agreed with, hey, this is her first foray on Earth. Yes, she's gonna be a bit out of place, but it's been what, 2 years, going on 3?
they've gone way too far with
Yeah,
it.
it's too long. She
Um,
should have already acclimated to the planet.
being an Earth girl, as
Yeah.
she puts it in the movie. Um, I've even heard that they've changed Wonder Woman up to where she's more sexualized and not quite the heroine she used to be.
Yeah, from what I understand, she has been somewhat marginalized. They can't do much with her because she's Wonder Woman.
But they did what they could.
Yeah, there are some characters you can't fuck with too much, but they did what they thought they'd get away with, and
Um,
it's shitty.
and then look what and not even talking about heroines, Lois Lane.
Yep.
Um, the list goes on. These are all female characters, and look what's happened to them since the relaunch.
Strong
It's
female characters have been either eliminated, marginalized, or reduced to nothing more than sexual objects for little boys,
Mhm.
and that's not cool.
And I don't know if you saw this. There was obviously, I follow the Has EC Done Something Stupid Today website.
Right.
One of the things Didio was caught saying was basically that they write comics for 45-year-olds. That's his goal. Which makes perfect sense since, they've pretty much tried to return it to the Silver Age.
Yeah, and that's exactly where he's screwing up. He's trying to write comics for people, and don't get me wrong, there is a large fan base of adult males, but there's also a large fan base of young adult males, people who are between the ages of 18 and 30, and 18 and 40, who read these comic books, and you're not appealing to them at all. There's a
No.
larger fan base of under the age of 40 than there is over the age of 40. You're not appealing to them at all, and even the ones that are over the age of 40 probably don't like what the fuck he's done with the company and the books.
I have met very few people that are pro New 52.
Yeah, we accidentally got into a rant the other day about it because one of my coworkers, Zeno, made the mistake of mentioning the new Flashpoint movie. And let me go ahead and say, it pisses me off that everything that they've done to the DC universe, because I think I would probably love this Flashpoint movie.
You
And
would. I saw it yesterday.
I don't want to give my money to DC though. So I'm gonna go. I'm probably gonna go steal it somewhere and watch it because I think it's probably gonna be very good. Because I liked the Flashpoint story right up until the moment where they go, oh, by the way, this now affects everything in the DC universe.
See, I didn't pay for it. I watched it with a friend who had it. I had to get talked into watching it because of New 52.
Hmm.
But I was very pleasantly surprised, and if Flashpoint in the books had ended the way Flashpoint in the film did, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now, and that's all I'll say about it since you haven't seen it yet.
Fair enough.
but it's very good. And even if you are anti-New 52 and anti-Flashpoint, watch the movie, because I was gonna forego it for that reason, and that would have been a mistake because it was a good movie. So definitely check it out.
But definitely steal it. Don't pay for it. Don't give your
I'm
money
never
to
going
DC.
to. I'm not going to encourage you to fill Didio's pockets.
Yeah,
That's all
exactly.
I'm going to say about it.
You know, it's not often that I say flat out, go pirate something, because I really do think that people who put their heart and soul into something and put out a product need to get reimbursed for it. I don't like the concept of piracy unless there's no choice. Even every single movie that I have pirated or TV show that I've pirated and enjoyed, I have paid for at some point somehow. All the Doctor Who episodes that I download, when they're on DVD, I buy them. Same thing, The Big Bang Theory, Castle. You know, I have put money into these series because I believe that the people making them deserve to be rewarded for their efforts. I'm saying right now, this is the one time that I will say flat out, do not give your money to DC. Steal this movie.
I won't say that. I'll just say don't give DC money, and that's all I'm willing to say on it. Take that as you will.
Let the government come and shut me down. I don't give a fuck. I do what I want. I don't give a fuck.
Woo! Anyway, but yeah, it actually was surprisingly good, and like I said, had it ended this way in the comic books, things would have been a lot better.
No, fair enough. I'll obtain it later.
Unfortunately, things are the way they are. DC is the way it is, and
Didio's a fucking moron.
and getting worse. Just when you think it can't get worse, it does. Did you see the article about all of the uproar with these 3D covers?
I did not. I saw something about it, but I didn't read it. What's going on?
I don't know the whole story, but best I can gather, they're doing this Villains Month promotional type shit, as DC is bound to do from time to time.
Right, Marvel does it too.
Right. And there's these 3D variant covers. Well, they weren't supposed to be variant covers, first of all. They were supposed to be 3D covers.
Okay.
Which, of course, raises the price.
Right.
Of said issue. Well, they put in First of all, they put in a really early due date for comic shops to get their orders in. So comic book retailers kind of had to guesstimate really early on and submit their orders.
Didn't order enough.
And then they were told, oh, by the way, we changed our minds. These 3D covers aren't going to be the only covers. They're variants. We're going to do 2D covers too. And then they were told something about trying to fill orders, and comic shops are only getting a small percentage of what they ordered, and they don't have any control of how much they're getting. So there's many levels of this, and I strongly recommend actually going to
DC done something?
somethingstupidtoday.com to check it out, because they have the whole story from start to finish, and it's a long one. But
I'll have to check that out.
Basically, the gist of the whole thing is throughout this whole 3D debacle, wants to call it, DC has been screwing over retailers on various levels, to the point that I've seen a lot of retailers that have been tweeting directly to Didio. And his response is basically, well, it is what it is. I'm trying to get my copies too, da-da-da-da, and just blowing them off.
Oh, I did see that tweet. I saw him tweet, I'm trying to get my copies too, and now I understand a little bit more about what's going on. Yeah, Didio's a fucking moron. We have a viewer. I'm kind of hoping it's Dan Didio.
I would like to just throw this out there. Mr. Didio.
Mr. My ass. Hey, Didio.
We have bashed you since the start of New 52 on this show. However, should you ever want to come on our show and defend yourself, it is an open invitation. We will gladly let you speak your mind, given that we are able to speak to you on behalf of the fan base.
Right, and bear in mind it's going to be a hostile environment, especially from her.
But feel free to join us on our show. I promise to be civil. And I promise to let you speak your piece and let you tell your side of the story. And this is an open invite anytime.
I don't promise to be civil, but I promise to let him speak his piece as well. And I'm always like that. If you wanna come on here and you want to talk about your opinions and why you do the things you do, feel free. Go ahead. Understand that I'm going to call you to task on things that I call bullshit on, but that's what it's all about. The whole point is to get the information out there and let the listeners and the viewers decide.
And if Didio truly feels like he's in the right here, he should have no problem answering a few concerns from fans.
Right, and of course he clearly does feel that he's in the right, because he has never answered a direct question ever since New 52 has come out. He has never come out and flat out said, this is why we did it that way, this is how we feel. He has avoided, ducked, dodged every chance he's gotten to come forward, to be honest and upfront with the people paying money to read his comics, and he has never taken advantage of that situation and tried to fix the PR nightmare that is Dan Didio right now.
And every opportunity he's had to clearly state any information about Stephanie Brown, Donna Troy, Mia Dearden, etc., he is, especially Stephanie, has sidestepped the question.
Yes, very neatly. Not so neatly, but no. He has
very obviously.
Yeah, he ain't fooling anybody. But yeah, no. He. By all means, Didio, if you want to come on and defend yourself, you feel free. But you're going to have to answer some actual questions instead of sidestepping.
Oh, yeah. I watch Barbara Walters. I know how to ask hardcore crap.
I've watched Oprah. I watched Ellen DeGeneres. I know how to dance on camera like an idiot.
Anyway.
I'm not going to, but I know how it's done.
Thank you. I'm sure all our viewers appreciate that.
I'm sure.
Anyway, moving on.
Moving on.
So yeah, DC continues to do stupid stuff. Continues to do stupider stuff than they have done previously.
Yeah, it's like it's a pile of shit, and they just keep adding shit to it. It's so dumb. I didn't know they stacked shit that high.
And it would be so easy to fix. All they do at this point is do a reverse flashpoint, reset the universe back to where it was, start paying attention to the fans again, and this would all go away.
Honestly, at this point, I don't even care if they fix it or not. I would just like them to answer a direct question with a direct answer. I would be happy with that as a first step. Just say it. It's... Go ahead.
Yesterday, like I said, I was at a comic shop yesterday. I saw the issue of Smallville, the Smallville comics, season 11, with Supergirl on the cover.
Uh-huh.
Very nice Supergirl costume, very well done. Didn't look like the idiotic actress that they had playing her on the show.
Hey.
It was great. Sorry, I'm not a fan of her at all. And I actually would have picked it up and read it to see what they did with Kara, because the last time we saw Kara in Smallville, she went to the future. I would have been interested to read that. But I would not pick it up for two reasons. One, I won't buy a DC comic book, so, there's that. And second of all, I'm still pissed off that they had Stephanie Brown drawn and ready to go for Smallville, and Didio was like, And and now
Nope,
we
can't
have
do
Barbara
that.
Gordon's Robin.
Yeah.
So, um, as interesting as it looked to me, I won't buy it.
Fair enough.
And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way.
No, absolutely not. There's lots of people who have stopped buying DC Comics, won't buy DC Comics, won't even read them because they've just gotten so fucked up.
And the sad, I know that no company's perfect. I know there's Marvel fans that are mad about something or other that Marvel's done, but not to this extent. Marvel is currently kicking DC's ass on every front. Comic books and movies.
Yeah, it's really rare for a fan to switch companies. Lots of fans stop buying books. But for people to go, you know what, fuck you, DC, I'm going to buy Marvel books that I hate because I can't stand what you've done to DC. I know people that have done that. It's the first time I've ever heard of that. And maybe it's not the first time it's ever happened, but it's definitely the first time I've ever seen it. I work with people who go out, spend money on books they hate, and throw them away or give them away or whatever just to say, fuck you, DC.
Well,
they spend their money on Marvel.
And look at me. How anti-Marvel was I a couple of years ago?
Right, and you're still technically anti-Marvel, but you're very much pro-Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially where Thor is concerned.
I'm actually a fan of Thor now. I like Loki. I even like the Avengers. Well, the Avenger team as they are in the movie. I'm starting to kind of... I wouldn't say I'm anti-Marvel at all anymore. I still don't like the X-Men, and I don't think I ever will.
You're still not so much pro-Marvel as you are. You can appreciate certain characters that have done well in the cinematic universe.
And I do like. She's not Miss Marvel anymore, but she was. I think she's Captain Marvel now. Carol Danvers.
Yes, Carol is now Captain Marvel. Yeah, she took on those powers.
I like her. I like Thor. I like Loki. I'm even starting to warm up to Tony Stark. So, you know, DC has made me so mad that I'm actively trying to get into the Marvel Universe just so I can fill that comic need that I have. And this never would have happened a couple of years ago. I never would have watched the Avengers. You never would have talked me into it. But that's what DC has done to their fans.
Right. They've driven them away, driven them into the arms of another woman, you might say.
And now it's all about Loki. I'm sorry, Dick Grayson, but my heart now belongs to Loki.
I don't get it. I really don't. You know, all the fangirls that I've seen, including you, that have kind of latched on to, oh crap, what's his name? The actor that plays Neil Caffrey.
Matt Bomer?
Yeah, Matt Bomer. That latched onto him as Dick. I get that.
I'm not the only one.
Yeah, you're not the only one. You weren't even the first one.
No, I did
get it.
I did see it on my own. I mean, I didn't get the idea from somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I'm not the only one that saw it. It's kind of obvious to me.
Yeah. I get the fangirl base there. He's a very pretty man. I'm not gonna lie. He's a handsome man.
And he is a good choice for Dick Grayson.
Yeah, he's got the right attitude, the right stature. I think he could pull it off if they ever did that. But that being said, I don't get the attraction to Loki. I just don't.
But again, he has a ton of fangirls.
He really does, and it's shocking, to be honest. And I know that at least part of it is the whole he's damaged and dark and brooding and whatever.
But see, the thing for me is it's really weird because typically I like the hero and not the villain. I've never gotten girls that thought the villain was a sexy one. Like, I don't typically like villains. Yeah. I don't know what it is about Loki, but I love Loki.
You do love the scrawny little fuckers. I'm just saying, there's a pattern here.
There is a pattern.
So.
But yeah, Loki is awesome. I can't wait for Thor 2. I never thought I would say that about a Marvel movie.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Of course, I've liked the entire Marvel Cinematic run. I think everything they've done since Iron Man 1 has been absolutely brilliant, especially coming off the heels of things like Daredevil, Fantastic Four 2, the Hulk.
Now,
Iron Man forward has been really good.
now speaking of movies, not Marvel movies, DC movies,
Okay.
we got a little piece of news from Comic-Con about the next Man of Steel, or the Man of Steel sequel.
Right. The next Superman movie will be a sequel. It's not a departure or a reboot or whatever. It is a sequel, and it will feature Batman.
And I'm not sure how I feel about this.
I am, as of right this minute, I am looking forward to it because I want to see a live-action Batman on screen with a live-action Superman because it's going to set up the Justice League eventually. That's what it'll lead to eventually. It'll lead to a live-action Justice League.
Well, and they kind of had to do this with Christian Bale not being Batman anymore. If they didn't want to reboot the Batman universe already, this is really the only way to introduce a new Batman for a Justice League movie.
Right, if they care about that. I mean, there's a lot of people saying, well, why not just do a Justice League movie? And it's because Warner Brothers wants to take it one step at a time. Man of Steel was very successful. They want to build on that success with another Man of Steel movie, but set up a Justice League combo movie, team up.
See, I was overall. I can't say I was disappointed in Man of Steel because I went in with such low expectations. Had I had any expectations, I would have been disappointed in the overall movie. As we talked, there were good points and bad points in the movie, and there was some stuff about it I liked. And it was better than Superman Returns, although that's not saying much.
It's really not. It's better than the last 3 Superman films.
That said, overall, it's not a movie that I'm like, oh, I wanted to come on DVD because I need to see this movie again. If I never see that movie again, I'm fine.
See, and I am looking forward to the DVD Blu-ray release because I want a copy of it. I thought it was very good. The only real concern I had with it was the portrayal of Zod, not the characterization, but the actor himself. I don't like him as Zod.
And see, I didn't like the characterization of Clark. I thought that it was way too dark. I thought that they took a Batman approach to a Superman movie, and that's not what I wanted to see.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
let's be honest. You won't be truly happy unless it's a Supergirl movie.
That's not entirely true, because I'm only semi-satisfied with the 1984 Supergirl movie, and that's only because it exists. The movie itself is quite a letdown.
True. I think that if this had been a Supergirl movie, if the quality had been the same, not obviously not the exact same storyline, but a similar concept, a similar tone, similar cinematography. If they were truly comparable, I think you'd have been much more satisfied if this had been a Supergirl movie than a Superman movie.
I disagree. I have seen, or in the tie-in comic, though, they do have Kara in it. They have set it up for her to show up in the sequel. There are even Easter eggs in the movie that I read about later that I didn't catch, which would be the only reason I would watch the movie again, to try to catch them again. They've set it up for Kara to show up in the sequel, which actually makes me wonder if this sequel is going to somehow be similar to the
Batman Superman Apocalypse. The comic and then the follow-up movie. You froze. Hi. Whatever you're saying, I can't hear it. Well, this is fun. I don't know if I'm frozen and you can't see me, or if you're frozen and I can't see you, or if we're both frozen and people watching this are sitting there going, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to text her and see what happens. Oh, she fell off. She went away. Oh, noes. So if you're still watching this, Scylla will be right back, I assume. I'm sure we're just having technical difficulties on her side. I'm texting her now to see what's going on. This is great. I hope she doesn't edit this out. This is great. I could sing for you. I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. I'm not going to sing for you. Okay, at this point, I kind of hope she does. Her internet crashed. It's coming back up. She will be joining us very soon. Folks, this is what happens when we don't record in the same location. We get strange issues. One of these days, we're going to set it up. We're going to have an actual studio. We're going to have real audio, real video recording, and then we'll post it as an honest to God video, as opposed to doing the Hangouts. I love the Hangouts. I think it's a great idea, but we do get these kind of issues. Oh, she's back.
I'm sorry about that.
Things happen.
My internet crashed. What was the last thing you heard me say?
I don't know. I got so entertained by the fact that you just kind of in mid-sentence just stopped.
Well, what I was saying was basically the tie-in comic for Man of Steel did set it up for Supergirl Kara to appear in the sequel. Right. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something similar to Batman Superman Apocalypse or the comic book that was based on. Right.
That's what you were saying, and when you paused, I said it too, and then you went away.
And so I wouldn't be surprised if that's the route this movie takes. It may not, but that's kind of what I feel like they've set it up for.
Yeah, I don't know that they'll do the Doomsday scenario, but I think it would be a good opportunity to bring Kara to Earth. Batman finds her, and then he and Superman have to whatever.
And, Superman and Clark came very close to coming to blows in the comic book over it. You extend that a little more, and you have a good reason for Superman to take on Batman if Batman sees Kara as a danger.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
just have to wait and see.
That scenario, I can see me liking the sequel. But that would make sense, and this is DC, so I'm not holding my breath. Whereas I had very little hope for Man of Steel, I'm going into the sequel with no hope. So there's no way I can be disappointed. If it sucks, I can go, well, I knew it would suck. If it's good, I can go, wow, DC didn't suck.
You're kind of like all those Star Wars fans that are going, well, J.J. Abrams, he can't possibly make it any worse.
Pretty much.
So we'll just have to wait and see how things turn out.
But anyway, we'll see what happens on that front. So I'm not looking forward to that sequel. I am looking forward to the Thor sequel. That's every thing I've seen from it, the trailer and whatnot, looks like that movie is going to be epic.
Yeah, it looks really good. And, of course, it's got one of the doctors in it, so can't be all bad.
In a major role, too.
Yeah.
Not just a little cameo walk-in. He's got a major role.
Yeah, he's the primary villain of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the villain is not Loki this time.
Right, he's actually begrudgingly helping.
We'll call him an anti-hero. I think Loki's like the Jason Todd of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, okay, whatever. You can believe that if you like.
You disagree?
I do. I think that he's only doing what he has to get out of prison. He has no real desire to save anybody except his own ass.
He wanted to rule the people of Earth. He didn't want to kill them.
Yeah, he wanted to rule them. The world is a mess, and I've just got to rule it, as Dr. Horrible said. Just saying.
I'm just saying you can look at Loki's character in another way, and he's not really a villain. He just wants to make the world a better place with him in charge of it. Or not.
Or not. So anyway, all right. So we've talked about comics. We've talked about Doctor Who. What else we got?
You know, most of the news that I've seen lately kind of ties into those two things. Honestly, those are the big things right now.
That and it's fucking hot in Texas.
It is fucking hot in Texas, which isn't exactly news for this time of year, but it is still hot nevertheless.
Yeah, I don't care if it happens every fucking year or not. It's still fucking hot.
Yeah, we are having a Texas summer, that's for sure.
Yeah, brother. It was mild. That's the nice thing. It was actually a very mild summer. It's just now starting to get hot.
Which is unusual for Texas.
Yeah. It also doesn't bode well for the winter. If summer was this mild, we may have a pretty bitter winter this year. Those 2 weeks in February.
Right around my birthday.
That's right. So let's do your soapbox.
Well, we kind of already did. We
talked about Didio when we didn't mean to.
Yeah. But to get back onto that a little bit, because we didn't address everything I wanted to address. I've bashed Didio before for not having a Twitter account. Called him scared to face the fans.
And obviously, either he has added a Twitter account or you were wrong in the first place.
Well, and judging by the number of tweets on that account and how much he's been tweeting the last couple of days, I'm thinking it is a rather new account. I haven't gone back to see the date of the first tweet yet, but there's a relatively low number of tweets there.
I see.
So I do suspect it's new. Or newish, anyway.
I wonder if that was pressure from on high. Somebody above him finally said, you need to get on Twitter and start responding to these people. Probably not. His wife probably said, why aren't you on Twitter? Think he's married?
God, if he is, I feel sorry for her.
I know, that poor woman.
Oh, God, I hope he doesn't have any daughters.
If so, they're probably all Catholic schoolgirls.
And redheads. Chuck!
What?
Yes.
Hey, redheaded Catholic schoolgirls. You did that. Well, okay, I did half of it. You're the one who added the redhead. You know my weakness. It's like my kryptonite.
Evidently that's Didio's weakness, too. And I'm convinced he hates blondes. Anyway. So...
See, it's much more likely that his daughters are actually blonde, and his wife, too, because he hates blondes. His first high school sweetheart was a redhead. He wishes he had married her instead of the shrew bitch he's married to now. Well, I don't know any of this. I'm completely speculating, and I would like to say to Dan Didio that since I do believe that none of this is true, and I'm sorry if it offends you, but go fuck yourself anyway. You're a fucking idiot.
His boss at Warner Brothers actually is a blonde female woman.
There you go.
So you know, there is that. But he does have a Twitter account now, and you can tweet him. He probably will not respond if you're a fan and you're making a point. This, however, is not going to stop me from sending him all of those tweets that I've been aiming at DC Comics, since most of them are about him. Gonna start tweeting that stuff to him directly, and I highly encourage everybody else to do the same. His handle is Dan Didio 1, very original.
Yeah, all lowercase, all run together. DANDIDIO 1, the number 1.
Um, but yeah, I highly encourage everybody to at least send him one tweet. Welcome him to the Twitterverse. And if you can fit Stephanie Brown into the tweet somehow, all the better. I would love for his timeline to get flooded with Stephanie Brown tweets.
That's right. You know what? We should totally get that started. Everybody tweet Dan Didio. Again, it's Dan Didio 1, the number 1. And in the tweet, the things that you should hit on is welcome to Twitter. Okay? Regardless of how long it's been since he's been on, just welcome him to Twitter. Hashtag Stephanie Brown, hashtag Jackalopes of Fire. Anything else you want to put in there, go right ahead, but those are the key points you need to hit.
I love it. We need to trend this.
That's right. Let's get that trending, everybody.
Yes. Good stuff. Now, where I was actually going with the soapbox, although I really do want everyone to tweet hashtag Stephanie Brown to Dan Didio, is Stephanie Brown. He recently sidestepped more questions about her.
That's my shocked face.
Right? Things to the effect of, we thought about bringing Stephanie back, but fans are going to be glad we didn't, and basically trying to make it sound like, oh, I'm such a Stephanie fan like you are, and I care, and I want her back, but it's got to be the right way, blah, 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 blah.
Right. More bullshit that nobody's actually buying.
Nope. And if you do buy it, then have some oceanfront property in Arizona.
And it's a steal, man.
Yes. So, Didio continues to treat fans in general, but specifically Stephanie fans, like idiots. And what I don't think he realizes is that this bullshit spin he keeps putting on all of this is actually making things worse, not better. The words sound good, but nobody's buying them. So it's making it worse because he's insulting us on top of everything else. Instead of just saying,
insulting the intelligence of the fans.
Instead of just saying, look, Stephanie's not going to be in the New 52. I'm not a fan of the character. I don't want her in the books anymore. Or, you know, anything resembling honesty, which would actually be preferable. He is insulting our intelligence, which really just adds insult to injury.
I agree.
And that's my soapbox.
Ooh, short one.
Well, we covered most of the rest of it already, so.
True enough. So, Chuck's Choice, I actually have one, believe it or not. I read a book this week, and I've actually talked about this on Facebook and Twitter. It's just a phenomenal story. It's written by an author named Garth Stein. That's S-E-E-I-N. Garth Stein. The novel is called The Art of Racing in the Rain, a novel. And it's a relatively quick read. It's only about 300 pages, and I borrowed it from a friend of mine at work and read it in 2 evenings, basically. Started reading it about 5 o'clock on a Friday, left it at work when I went home that day, and then read the rest of it Monday afternoon and evening. Great book. I actually teared up a little bit at the end. It's got a very sad ending, but it's still very good. And it's told entirely from the point of view of a dog, a Labrador mix. Yeah, you know, if you want a nice story, something it's not a horror story, it's not really a comedy. It's got funny moments, of course, but it's also got some very poignant and sad moments. It's just in general a good book. Apparently, it's been around for a while, and I'm just now getting around to it. Anyway, it's called The Art of Racing in the Rain. It's by Garth Stein, and I recommend it to everybody, especially if you're a dog lover.
Okay.
So obviously not you, because you don't love dogs. You love cats, you evil, evil woman.
Cats are awesome, man.
They're evil. Further evidence of the evilness of cats is a friend of mine, same friend that loaned me the book, May. See, okay, she does... Stop that.
This
That is
a,
me not wanting to be picked up. That's what that sound is.
This is an angel.
Let her go.
I did.
Christ. Anyway, the further evidence that cats are evil, my friend May, the same one that let me borrow the book, we've talked about May before, but she had these cupcakes, these really awesome German chocolate chip cupcakes that she made, and the cat licked the topping off the last one. See, that cat is perfectly content to be left the fuck alone, and you were harassing it. And that's why cats are evil. Cats are evil because humans don't know when to quit. I'm just saying. Anyway.
It's her nap time.
Whatever. The Art of Racing in the Rain, Garth Stein. Go check it out. Go to your public library and check it out and read it for free. Buy it through Amazon, through the Kindle store, or go to a local bookstore and buy it. If you're going to go to a bookstore and buy it, find a locally owned bookstore. Support local businesses. Don't go to the big box stores like Barnes & Nobles and all that crap. Just saying.
So now
I use Amazon because it's easy. I'm lazy.
So now it's time for Flix Picks.
It is time for Flix Picks. Yay!
I have my 3.
Go for it.
My first one is kind of a nostalgia pick. I really don't know what else to call it because it's by no means an amazing movie. It's called Wish Upon a Star. And it's a movie that Katherine Heigl did back before she was a famous A-lister celebrity for the Disney Channel. Before
everybody knew who the fuck Katherine Heigl was?
Yeah.
And you got tired of seeing fucking Katherine Heigl every goddamn 3 months?
Anyway, this is one of her early films she did for the Disney Channel. It's definitely along the lines of... It's a Freaky Friday ripoff, basically. These two sisters that don't get along switch lives.
Is it safe to say that we don't get to see her boobs?
Being as it's Disney, yeah, pretty safe.
Well, damn.
But it's a cute movie nevertheless, and so definitely recommend it. Next pick is a movie called Saved. Stars Mandy Moore and Macaulay Culkin. It is hilarious. Really good movie. What's up? Look for it.
No, go ahead. You go right on.
Anyway,
each to their own.
Premise of the movie is basically this it's a Christian high school, so they're all these hardcore Christians. One of the girls starts questioning her faith. She ends up getting pregnant. Obviously, chaos ensues. It's not poking fun at religion so much as poking fun at the hypocrites within religion. I thought it was a very well-written, funny movie.
I hated it. I've seen it. I didn't like it.
And my last pick is a movie called The Deep Blue Sea. It stars, I'm going to say this name wrong, but I'm going to try, Rachel Weisz?
Weisz. It's German.
There's no V.
It's German.
Okay.
It is pronounced Weisz. She's English, but the name is German. It's pronounced Weisz.
She's in it along with Tom Hiddleston, who is better known as Loki.
Yep.
Which is the reason I watched the film.
Naturally.
He is very, very good in that film, and I highly recommend it. It's a love story. It's set in 1955 London, but it's not the type of love story that... It's definitely not The Notebook. It's not a Nicholas Sparks type love. It's very much a more realistic look at love and the way that it can go. So, don't expect your happy, lovesick ending, because that is not what this film is at all. But it's worth checking out, and like I said, Tom's very, very good in it. So, the last pick.
All right. Before I get to mine, I want to say I bitched yesterday about the profiles on because I use Netflix a lot, and they are rolling out this new profiles thing, and it's not on every system yet. It's still kind of new, but I do have it on my PlayStation, and I also found it's on my computer, but it's not on my Kindle Fire, and it's not on my iPhone.
And
I haven't checked it.
it's not on Dad's Surface yet either.
Yeah, and I haven't checked the Xbox 360, but if it's not on the Surface, it's probably not on the 360. I didn't like it because the first time I saw it, it popped up and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And thinking it would be kind of interesting, I went ahead and added a second profile, and I added John, and he never used it. he just skips by it and goes to my queue, which kind of defeats the purpose in my opinion. But um, but then whenever I was going to it, I was having to select on my own. So what I did was I deleted his profile to where I'm the only profile on there, and now it doesn't ask me anymore. So I take it back. I do like it. It seems like it would be very beneficial, especially in families.
It is.
The people that they don't want the just for kids or regular Netflix experience pop up, you can set the profiles to always be just for kids or always be regular Netflix. And so I did that. I set my profile to be always regular Netflix. Hopefully it'll never prompt me for the just for kids ever again. And hopefully it won't prompt me for the profiles anymore since there's only one on the system now.
I very much like the profile system. I set one up for each of the parents. Once it's actually available on all systems, it's going to be great.
I believe it, yeah. So anyway, with that in mind, I retract my bitchiness about it. I think that in the right situation, it's probably very cool. And as long as it doesn't keep prompting me to ask me who the fuck's watching my Netflix account, since it's just me and John, and he just watches my queue, then I got no problem with it.
Okay, so now your picks.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I got off tangent a little bit. So I have 3 picks, obviously, because that's kind of what we do. My first one is Orange is the New Black. This is a Netflix original. It just got released about a month ago. And I've only seen a couple episodes of it, but it's really good. It's got Laura Prepon from That 70s Show. She's Hot Donna. And it's also got... the pie fucker. I can't think of his name now. Jason something. Anyway, it's about this woman who was a money carrier for a drug dealer, and it anymore, but she has to go serve time, and it's her experiences in the jail. It's actually based on a true story, which was turned into a book and then subsequently turned into this series. So it's relatively interesting. Like I said, I'm only a couple episodes in, but it is really good. My next one is House of Cards, starring Kevin Spacey. I burned through this one in just a couple of days, partially because I was sick on Friday and had to spend the day on the couch, which kind of sucked. But anyway, it's House of Cards. Kevin Spacey, he's a congressman. Basically, he gets screwed out of the Secretary of State position and decides to exact revenge. And his revenge is pretty cool. And the last one is Hemlock Grove, and I've talked about this one before. I just want to mention it again. It is another Netflix original. I went with kind of a theme again this time. It's another Netflix original, and it is basically it's werewolves in the United States. It's kind of a cool. It's a change in the mythology a little bit. This is dealing with more of the old gypsy mythologies as opposed to some of the newer concepts of werewolves and vampires and shit like that.
No sparkly werewolves, though, right?
Yeah, no, they're not sparkly. But they are. It is deeply enmeshed in the gypsy culture. So it's definitely something to take a look at. It's freaky as hell. It is strange from the moment you start watching it all the way up until the last scene of the series. And I really hope that they keep it going. So it's another one of those that's based on a book. The book is intended to be the first in a trilogy, but the other two books have not been written yet. So if they continue the story, they may have to do their own thing or wait until the second book gets written. We'll have to wait and see. So anyway, those are my 3 picks. Orange is the New Black, House of Cards, Hemlock Grove. They're all Netflix originals. They're all available on Netflix right now. Off with you.
Okay.
Well, not yet. Wait till we're done, then go.
Which we are almost done.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk too much about this last topic. I just kind of want to throw it out there. If you're in the Austin area, I know we have viewers from all over the world, so this doesn't apply to all of you. Although you're more than welcome to come to Austin. Austin Comic Con is shaping up for this year. We're getting more and more awesome guests added. Recently, Bruce Campbell was added, and I am very psyched about this. The only way it could get any better is if Nathan Fillion decided to be there too.
Yeah, how cool would it be to have one convention with Nathan, Bruce, Neil Patrick Harris, and Will Wheaton all in one convention? I think that would be kind of cool.
Austin isn't big enough to contain the awesome that would be.
Oh, I think it is. We've got a lot of outdoor arenas.
I think the convention center would just implode.
Yeah, no, they'd have to move those panels or whatever over to Zilker Park. You know, a lot of open air to let the awesomeness dissipate naturally.
But Austin Comic Con is shaping up to be good. I won't go through the whole guest list, just short list. William Shatner, as I said, Bruce Campbell.
George Takei.
Yes, Scott Bakula was recently added. Jason David Frank will be there. They recently added Johnny Young Bosch.
Oh, that's who JYB is.
Yeah.
I saw you saying, ooh, JYB's got to be there. I'm like, who the fuck is JYB? And I thought maybe it was Barrowman. I thought maybe his middle initial was a Y.
No, unfortunately, he's not on this roster yet. He was at Chicago this past weekend, but he hasn't been scheduled for Austin. I'm hoping that changes.
That would be kind of cool. Are we going to see anybody from the Doctor Who world, do you know?
I don't believe so. I don't believe there's going to be any Doctor Who there.
See, there won't be much of a reason for me to dress.
Unless you count... well, no, he's not really from Doctor Who. He's from Torchwood. Damn it, name. He played Spike on Buffy, and then he played John Hart on Torchwood.
Yeah, James Marsters, but he's not going to be there as a tie-in to Torchwood or Doctor Who. He's going to be there as a tie. He's just himself.
Right.
Yeah.
But he is from
and he's going to be
Torchwood.
there. Yeah, but he's more of a Buffy thing.
Yeah.
An Angel.
So no, other than that, no ties to Doctor Who or Torchwood yet. But
still a few months.
We still have some time, and there's still new guests being added. Another big one that I think everybody but me is excited about is Stan Lee will be there.
Hot damn. That's awesome. Stan the Man? Hell yeah.
So it's shaping up to be a good convention. I'm very excited about it. Already planning my cosplay. Trying to convince other people, including my dear brother here, to go.
I might go. I don't think I'm going to cosplay, especially if there's not going to be any kind of Doctor Who thing, because that's the only thing I would cosplay as, is a Doctor Who thing.
People are still going to cosplay as Doctor Who. There was a ton of 11th Doctors there last time. There was...
I get that, but, that's okay.
My parents are even talking about going and cosplaying.
If they're going to do that, you told me about the idea. If they're going to do that, then Mom's going to have to go as a nurse, like Nurse Chapel. A Starfleet nurse.
That's what we're thinking, or
yeah.
They're thinking. Yeah.
I think that would be kind of funny. Anyway.
I won't be seen with them. I do have some friends I'm going to try to talk into going. May even try to take one of the little kids I babysit for, because kids get in free. It's going to be a fun experience this year.
All right.
So I'm looking forward to that. And if you aren't in Austin and are going to be in the Austin area or can get to the Austin area, of course, we welcome any and all geeks at Austin Comic Con.
When's the date again? I know it's in November.
It is November 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
So it's the weekend of Thanksgiving.
Weekend before Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay, the weekend just prior.
Right.
You know that's your other brother's birthday, right?
I didn't know that.
The 22nd.
Wow. I didn't know that. I actually have that day off already. I started my new job. Second day on the job, I go, is it too early to request time off for November? I need this day off. I already got it approved.
I will probably not do that. I will most likely, if I go, it'll be a Saturday thing for me.
Oh, I suspected as much. I suspect I'll probably be the only one. And I probably won't go on Sunday. I suspect it'll be very similar to what I did last year. I'll go on Friday, check it out, get a list of the panels and everything, get a feel for it. Saturday, do the big all-day thing, and I'll probably be too wiped out Sunday to go back. That's how it went last year.
Especially with my new schedule, working evenings, I'd have to take the whole day Friday off, and I'm not going to want to do that. So
yeah. So anyway, if you are going to be in or around Austin at that time, definitely come check it out. It'll be a whole lot of fun, and I'll be there. So hey, if you want a picture with a jackalope, find me.
All right. Well, I guess that's about it then. You have anything else? All right.
That's all I got. Thanks for listening. Make sure you check out our site at jackalopesfire.com. Tell your friends about us. Spread the word. Share Jackalope TV, youtube.com/JoF TV.
Keep your eyes open. We will be back. Again, we may not be able to do this every weekend like we were doing. We're certainly going to try and do it as often as possible, and not nearly as big of a gap as we had this last time. So there we go.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you here again next time.
Bye, everybody.